crash and burn.
Hey everybody, so tonight I am looking to discuss the 1989 film Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. Yeah, wow. I mean, okay, look. The first Sleepaway Camp is really serious and raw and ugly, and it's just parts of it are absolutely vile, and it's like a more traditional horror movie. But then as of the second Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, things take a decidedly more campy turn, and the third one just continues that. Again, Angela is no longer played by Felissa Rose. She is played again by Pamela Springsteen, whose brother, of course, is the boss, Bruce Springsteen. And yeah, it starts off with this chick named Maria. The plot, in this one is where Camp New Horizons, the owners are attempting to mix up rich kids with poor kids. So they're finding like underprivileged inner city kids, and they're bringing them out to the forest in the middle of nowhere and setting them up with a bunch of wealthy kids as like an experiment in caring or some shit they call it. So there's this girl named Maria. It starts off with her. She's like inner city, poor. Her parents don't give a fuck about her. But she takes her shirt off like pretty much right away. And when you're like 10 or 11, that's a big deal. And then out of nowhere, and she's walking to catch the bus where she's supposed to go up to Camp New Horizons, she's taken out by a garbage truck. It, of course, is driven by Angela Baker, the angel of death. And she takes her place, and she becomes Maria. And she ends up to Camp New Horizons and begins to butcher everybody. I think this one has a couple of my favorite kills. She kills the racist chick by somehow pulling her up a flagpole and then letting her drop down. What's the chick's name? Cindy? The other girl, she's like, oh wow, I like him. And the guy's Mexican. And she's like, he's Mexican? You know? And so Angela leads her astray. They're supposed to do this like some sort of like trust activity where Cindy's blindfolded. And oh my God, I love the way Cindy smokes. Oh, time for a ciggy break. And she like lights one up. You can tell she's not much of a smoker because, you know, people who don't smoke try to light a cigarette, and because there's fire involved, you can tell they're a little afraid of it. They're like, and then, you know, and then she goes, and she takes like a kiss like of a pull. It's nothing. And then she puts it out. Time for a ciggy break. Just quit. Like you're not really smoking, you know? And then somehow Angela gets her attached to a flagpole, and even though Pamela Springsteen weighs like 90 pounds, she manages a lot of upper body strength there to pull Cindy all the way up the flagpole just to release her. She lands on her head, and I absolutely love that death. My other favorite death in this is the lady running the place. I can't remember her name. When Angela takes the lawnmower and mows over her head after she buries her up to her neck in garbage. And that was super fun. And then they attempted to sort of create a more of an atmosphere of seriousness with this one, because the cop, I think his name's Barney, he's up there working with the inner city kids, and he's trying to be cool with them and everything, you know. And it's discovered that his son was one of the main characters from the second Sleepaway Camp who Angela beheaded. And so the dad tells the story, and inevitably that comes to a head. And I did like how she killed Barney too. He's like, what are you going to do? You're going to chop off my head like you did to my son? And he's like, are you going to stab me? Or are you going to do this? And she's like, no, I'm just going to shoot you. And she pulls out a firearm. She's got a handgun. She pulls it out and shoots him. And I thought that was really clever too. Thought that was really fun. This movie is dumb, but this movie is perfect. Okay? The deaths are super ridiculous. The reporter at the start, Tawny Richards, she's like, yo, you know, says it to Angela. She's like, you look like you've been around. You look like you can get me some drugs. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if Angela doesn't already have the drugs on her, how is she going to get you drugs? Maybe she is connected back in the city. You're in the middle of the fucking woods, lady. Yo, you look like you've been around, man. Maybe you could score me some coke. Where? Even if she was a dealer, she's not going to be dealing to the 10 other people that she's fucking camping with. That just doesn't make sense. So Angela, of course, goes into the utility closet and gets some Ajax, puts it in a little bit of plastic and tosses it off to the chick, and the chick's like, thanks. And then when I love it when Angela's getting it ready, she's like, that's the problem. Shit you buy on the streets. You just never know where it comes from. And then, oh, dude, you see the chick pull over the side of the road, and she snorts the Ajax. What a fucking horrible way to die. I can only imagine once that hits the water in your nose. That must hurt. But another fun death again. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. This one's super cool. It ends with Angela being ambulanced off to the hospital. She comes to, she kills the paramedic in the back, and the paramedic up front's like, "What's going on back there?" And Angela's like, "Just taking care of business." And it's like, the acting's horrible, but the movie has, it's just so, it's like a perfect Saturday afternoon movie. Or this is the perfect movie to watch when you have the flu. You know? If this movie is just so comforting. It's like hanging out with an old friend. It's just, there's something about the second and third Sleepaway Camps that just make them like limitless in their rewatchability. And it's because of the combination of all the things: the bad acting, the over-the-top ridiculous deaths, the lack of a budget, the sort of like lack of coherence at times. It all sort of marries off against each other to create some sort of like symphony of like horror movie perfection, you know? But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. I don't think there was anything else that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I think that was it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for just a little over 6 minutes while I discussed the 1989 film Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. Like always, if you like this review or you like this movie, don't forget to go and do something nice for somebody. But like always, most importantly, never forget that the world is a way better place because you are in it. I'm getting out of here. Have a good night.